Hello, boys and girls. Welcome back to What the Duck. This is episode number 44. It's a couple days after Thanksgiving, or I guess 5 days after Thanksgiving. Finally getting one of these down. We got Slacks, Purge, and Trent Pax with us again. A lot to talk about in this fun time. Patch 7.20 just came out. We've all gotten a chance to play some games, do some streams, and get a feel for it, so we'll get some initial reactions there. Artifact launched, or at least some of the streaming has, with the NDA being lifted, so we'll talk about that a little bit. Definitely mention some KL Major stuff, and there's some juicy drama lingering before us, boys. I can't wait to hear some of your opinions about what's happening with this next major in Chongqing and some of the players that might actually be barred from entering. So that's quite the piece. Slacks, how you doing, man? What do you want to start with today?
Oh, I think we should save the good old drama for later, boys. That's the fun part. So I'm doing good, man. Rested, happy.
Whoa.
So is that me? All right, went on the longest grind.
Sorry about that. My bad.
All good.
Longest grind I ever went on. By the way, sorry. Continue.
The audio.
Not you, just Andrew.
Oh.
He's on it. You keep talking, buddy. You're doing great.
All right. I went on an OD Pixel, as I call it, going from event to event with no rest, and whew, that hurt, dude. Never doing that again. That was too much for Daddy. Burned out. Anyway, how you guys doing?
I'm doing great. Just got back. I guess it was only a week ago. It feels so crazy because the major qualifiers are already starting, but kind of did a couple events in a row. So looking forward to the holidays at home. It's gonna be nice.
Has it really only been a week since we got back from KL? Jeez.
I pretty much looked at that the other day, and yeah, pretty much, right?
Wow.
Yeah,
Which day did you guys land in reference to the patch? Did you land as the patch came out?
We were flying as it came out.
Yeah, we were on the plane with
Suckers.
Grant, and we both landed in Denver. We pulled up the patch, and it dropped 10 minutes ago, and we both go, bro! We're yelling at each other on the plane. Did you see Bloodstone?
I almost missed a flight like that once. I was with Blitz and Merlini. Merlini pulled his laptop out, and we were sitting there reading through the notes. And I was like, guys, I'm pretty sure we're the only people that haven't boarded yet. And then we got off and got on the plane.
Close.
Yeah. It wasn't too bad, though. I mean, I got to play some games before I crashed after travel. So I feel like we still got ample time, and it was kind of fun to be able to read the notes and let them satiate on the way home. I don't know about your Uber ride, Slacks, but I was just glued to my phone the whole time trying to digest all the new spells and whatnot.
Oh, yeah. I was super rude. The Uber driver was trying to talk to me 100 times, and I'm like, sorry, I'm working. It's never done that before. I was a real piece of shit. Had to get those notes, though, dude. Everything changed. What the fuck kind of crack is Ice Frog on, dude? Yes! Ice Frog's like, hey, you guys remember Dota 1? Here it is! Coddle's dead, by the way.
There was Cuddle's not dead. I think Cuddle's winner rate's okay. But there was I definitely noticed a lot of regressive changes where it was lots of change things back to this idea we had in Dota 1 that was kind of cool that we ended up changing later. Wraithbands got too good. It's like the new Aquila. Boots got changed. Part's been weird. Boots are a fundamental aspect of so many heroes' identities, and now it's what do I do? There's some heroes left in the middle where it's Treads nor Phase really fit them great, like Storm, for example. And it kind of just feels weird. But I do still like that they changed a lot of shitty ultimates, ultimates that were boring, like Weave on Dazzle. I've always been a big Dazzle fan, but Weave was probably one of the most boring ultimates and one of the hardest to see the value of in the entire game. It's you either weave a couple of heroes and you're like, okay, maybe we have a long fight, and other times you'll weave a guy, he'll die, and you're like, well, that was my weave, Just felt bad most of the time.
Yeah.
So
it was kind of cool that it was both defensive and offensive. Sometimes you could try to push high ground by just getting a good 5-man team weave, so you can feel a little more comfortable tanking tower shots and stuff. But I agree. When I first saw that change, I actually thought it was still a cast like Weave, and then if you got the buff, it either reduced the enemy cooldown or increased ally cooldowns. So I totally misread it at first, and I thought that sounded like the coolest shit in the world. Then when I realized it was a passive, I was a little bit bummed, and then also realized how ridiculously good the passive is when it works on items and stuff. So it's undoubtedly just a ridiculous upgrade. I don't know.
It was surprising, though, to me, because how many heroes even have passive ultimates? That one really caught me off guard, because I would have thought that's something that gets taken away, There's not a
Yeah.
lot. It's like PA and Drow basically.
Wraith
Doesn't
King.
feel like the direction of the game. Yeah, I guess that's true. It is kind of passive.
Well, there was
Not-
just
not
a
bad.
lot of really weird decisions, like when he did the thing with Brewmaster and like the fire elemental type, and then they took that
Alright,
away. What the hell was
Big
that?
big clap for that being gone. By the way, there was outcry. 100% agree.
Wait,
Did
they
not like
they changed it though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they didn't remove it, but it's still there. You can still like set people on fire. It just takes
No,
a higher
but it's-
threshold. if
It
I'm-
takes magic damage, not fire damage.
Right.
And no longer has anything to do with any sort of elemental by certain hero shit. That's all gone,
Oh,
thankfully.
okay. You know, I think it was probably for the best, maybe, but I'm a little sad because that's always been something that, especially with like Batrider, he's the most glaring example. You're like napalm, fire.
Yes.
Somebody do fire damage. Like I feel like it was one of those things where they're just testing it out to see like, hey, maybe people will be okay with this, and it'll open up a new way that we can buff and nerf the game. But maybe this one was just bad. So I don't know. Maybe in the future, I'd like to see it tried in a better way.
Would
but-
you? I think that's
not
so
sure if it's-
weird. Why don't they just make a Pokemon game? That'd be so much more fun. Then, dude, I'm not kidding. I've always said if they made a Pokemon Dota 2 like game, holy shit, I'd play the fuck out of that, bro. Just roaming around Pikachu and people and shit. 120 characters. Ah, that'd be dope. But Purge, I'm surprised that you thought that was a good idea. I thought that was the stupidest thing I've ever heard of in this game.
I just think that it's always good to have more ways to be able to buff and nerf heroes because it gives you more flexibility to change things. Kind of. I can't remember. There was an example off the top. I won't say anything, I guess. But
Well-
it's just diversifying is always a good thing, basically.
Slacks,
to
I'm
give you more
surprised
options.
that you don't like it. I thought you would
Yeah,
be all
it's
about
the
adding a little bit
lore.
of lore to the elements.
No, man, because once you start with one, then it's like this never-ending cascade of different things that you have to think about. Why does Morphling ever catch on fire? He's a water elemental, you know? You got to constantly, like, it would never end. Once you open up that dank door, there's no coming home. So leave it closed.
Well,
Don't go in there.
What about this, right? So I think you can make a similar argument for RNG mechanics, like Ogre. He's just a straight dice roll with his spells once he gets multicast. That's a shitty mechanic overall, but it's okay if you have it in small controlled doses, and that's like what makes Ogre unique and cool and kind of worth being Ogre, amongst other things, Bloodlust included.
Yeah.
But doesn't that give Brewmaster a little bit of an identity? Like that does open up some cool lanes, like Brewmaster Ogre, you know, Brewmaster Jakiro. You know, is it the worst thing to have that kind of synergistic mechanic? Who gives a shit?
I
if
think it's a better
fire.
style of synergy though, because it's something that you can like itemize for instead now, because it's like it's damage instant, right?
Well, it's just better now. Yeah, you can do it with like
yeah.
anything, right? Anybody that does
Yeah.
damage. Am I reading that right?
I believe so.
Yeah.
So,
So
I
that's
don't
just
know.
a straight buff.
I'd rather that, like, I don't know, maybe someone on your team just buys a crit or something so they can like have a damage distance over. You know what I mean? That kind of dumb stuff. Like not having to pick the same heroes over and over. It's like, oh, there's
No.
Brewmaster, and now we gotta ban Ogre and Jakiro or something. I don't know.
Well, it's
I
just
always
one
think of-
spell though. At the same time, I mean,
Well,
it's
yeah,
not
I'm
really
saying you don't want to open the door, man. Slippery slope. I always think the lowest common denominator. What's the worst thing that could happen? The worst thing that could happen is you're playing a ranked game, somebody Brewmaster's mid, and then he goes, I'm feeding unless 4 people pick fire-based heroes, guys. It's over. We have to do this. Please
Wow.
don't put me
It's
in
like
that game.
hyperbolic.
You've managed
fuck,
to
you
think of the
kidding?
worst case scenario.
It's one spell. It's literally one spell.
But I'm
Like, you
saying
don't-
people
Yeah.
are stupid. They're always going to be like that.
It's not like
I-
Brewmaster's useless if you don't have a fire hero. He could still go solo off lane. You know, he still has an ultimate. That's pretty cool.
I'm just saying.
I just think it's worth exploring, and if it's done in a nice way, then it's all going to be okay. And we don't have to think about these worst case scenarios where assholes are going to be assholes. I think it's potentially cool in the future. Who knows? Maybe there's going to be some cool interaction. I'm open to it, I guess. I didn't play against any Brewmasters, so I only got to play like one day after the patch came out, and then last night. So maybe I missed the shitty parts. I only got wrecked by Sark like 3 times. So and no Meepos. I didn't get wrecked by Meepo.
I love that they buffed Meepo to an actually playable level, and then he had one day, and then they're like, whoa.
Dude, he
It was
was like
kinda like Lich.
70% or some shit though. Like,
It was that high.
yeah, he was 70% in pubs on fucking Meepo.
Jesus.
Well, all the Meepo players, they'd been waiting for years to finally.
I hope they got it in good, dude. Like,
at 24
I looked at my feed and I had 2 people that were like, got to silver tier on Meepo. There was 2 different players like within like 30 minutes of each other.
So Drow Ranger is the hero that I want to ask about because she got a pretty big buff, and I mean we're kind of looking at the notes here for 7.20C, which is actually pretty extensive. A lot of hero tweaks here, mostly some cooldowns and numbers, a lot of talent changes as well. Drow got a big buff where now marksmanship adds 120 damage physical proc against heroes whenever she gets the armor piercing thing. So now it's kind of like a proper MKB really that her ultimate gives her. How bad was she before, and does this make her less bad, or is she still a shadow of her former self?
Well, to clarify what happened in the patch notes, from my impression, was that they removed a lot of these laners that just have stupid big damage increases. So like Bloodseeker gets attack speed, not damage anymore. And the reason was because you could control your lane so well that if you got any advantage, you could just sit there and dumpster. Somebody's ringing my doorbell. So they changed all to attack speed. I'll be right back. That was
Okay, I'll take over for
You get him, dude.
So anyway, attack speed can be extremely viable for controlling the lane. Damage is a big thing, and I feel like that they nerfed that particular instance of being able to have such high control heroes in the
Stop
early.
everything you're saying. It's all wrong.
Go ahead, Bert.
So basically, he got all this attack speed bonus, which was kind of cool as a way to like make the laning. Because basically the problem with Drow is if you give everybody on your team damage, that's inherently kind of broken because they all also get crazy lane advantage. So it's like if they change it to attack speed, it allows you to now buff Drow into a place where that becomes semi-balanced and isn't like you insta-win the game in lanes. So now it's going to allow you to change Drow in a more beneficial way that might actually make her more fun to play and less of just a like win your lanes across the board, hit towers, and that's it, hero. Like I think they'll be able to change her eventually to be good again. But right now she's probably bad.
All right.
I see that the day one patch, on the day of the patch, she dropped to about a 39% win rate from 51. That was a harsh day for old Drow.
Good.
But
Maybe
she's slowly
pro
climbing
players-
back up to 50 now with that last buff.
That's great. Maybe pros will stop throwing away their chances to win majors and minors by picking her. That would be nice. Fucking dum-dums.
She
No,
was
not
literally like a first round pick and banned against some teams all the way up until like the tournament after TI. So I don't know what you're talking about.
I
She's
never
good.
won.
Never. No,
that's not
just
true.
never won a single
Forward
game.
Gaming like got to win a bracket easily by picking Drow first phase. Like they were a very good Drow team, for example.
First phase Drows.
I'm
Anyway.
also very glad to see Slark pretty much just nerfed across the board. It's a lot of tiny adjustments that just make him a little less efficient with higher mana costs, less gain from his talents. They did make the agility steal a little better, where now it's a radius, not just killing blow, which is annoying, but harder for him to kill people, so I think it's warranted. I feel like I've seen a lot of Slarks, and a lot of them have just destroyed people pretty much no matter what happens. Even if they get dumpstered in the lane, they're still able to come back with a couple of kills. It just feels like felt very, very powerful. Kind of like anti-mage.
He back, dude. It was just reverting that he couldn't get out of the sheep. Holy shit. That was like every time I saw Slark, insta-lock Lion, and he literally can't do anything for the entire game. So after they changed that, he was back.
I think they had to do that maybe because it kind of ruined like Tidehunter, for example. You would have to change Tidehunter in a big way to make him good again. But it definitely helped Slark among his other nerfs and bans.
I think Slark really needed it too, though, because of sentries. Like all the changes to sentries made that hero a lot worse too.
Yep.
So now they also got buffed again, but I think he's been buffed in enough compensation that he should be fine.
Yo, that leash thing seems really broken though. Like I was watching somebody cast a game last night, and they were talking about how Slark pounces Storm. Storm just can't use ball lightning for like 3.5 seconds.
Dude, you
That
can't
seems
snowball
ridiculous.
as Tusk. Like there's so many weird things now with his leash status.
But you can break it with Ironwood Branch, though.
Or Force Staff.
Or Force Staff.
Oh.
I haven't done it yet, but
Wait, what do you mean you can break it with
It just
Ironwood
seemed-
Branch?
because you can break it with Force now. So if you use Iron Branch, you run to the extreme, and then you place it perfectly, so it pushes you away a little bit. You know, it's like how you can use Iron Branches to push yourself onto a ward spot.
Right.
Okay.
Very similar. It's probably really hard to do, but hypothetically you could do it.
Wow.
Mm.
Well, that's the hard counter right there.
There it is. 50
It's the
gold.
branches.
So, but Force Staff breaks it.
Yeah, you can Force Staff break Slark Pounce now. I haven't tried it yet, but
Okay,
Yeah, it
so
should work.
Force Staff is the actual counter to Leash. That's also good to know. I don't think I bought a single Force Staff on this pack. I've been fucking
It was
up,
the
boys.
one change the item. It just literally says, can now override Slark's pounce.
Huh. Well,
That's There you go.
The
Very
force out there?
specific.
It's time to stop feeding. All right, buy force staffs against Slark for God's
Guys, don't be like me. Buy a force staff, save a life.
I don't know though. What about status resistance? Holy Jesus! I'm too stupid to fucking understand what the hell this thing is. All I know is that everybody. I don't even know anything.
It just
Help.
reduces the percent, the duration that stun will affect you. So if you have a Sanjin Yasha, which is 16%, and you get hit by a 1 second stun, it becomes a 0.84 second stun. You still take full damage, but the amount of disable that it affects you by is lower. Does that make sense?
But there's some weird stuff now, right? Like with Lion's Finger of Death.
Right.
If you have a higher status resistance, you have less time to get away. I don't know.
Less time, yes, because basically debuffs will last shorter. So if you Finger of Death him and you don't kill him, then yes, instead of 3 seconds for them to be killed for you to get finger damage, it would be like 2.5 ish. So if it's like a damage over time, it still works. Yeah, basically any debuff that's on you will be reduced. And I guess Bane does the same thing, right? He extends a debuff on heroes and.
But let's say you have Queen of Pain's Q on you. If you have 50% status resistance, does it do the same amount of damage, just higher ticks?
Right. Yeah. If I remember correctly, the way it worked is you still deal the damage. If the way it probably works is like, you know how it's supposed to be every 3 seconds or whatever you take the shadow dagger damage, that number probably gets reduced as well. So it's like it doesn't last as long, but it does deal the damage faster. I think that's how it works. So if you get like Venom ulti or something, you'll just take damage more rapidly, but it'll still end faster. I think that's how it works.
I'm just confused for the why. Why these gigantic changes? I mean, we've had these patches that have been like, pretty boop, boop, boop. Then we get to 7.0, huge change. A lot of heroes are different. But 7.20, I mean, again, I got to talk about my boy, Coddle. I loved playing Coddle. Mana Leak was my favorite skill in the game. And it's just gone. It's just fucking gone. Like, what happened?
For you.
He's got new
Why
shit,
did this happen?
Sometimes you got to go out with the old and in with the new, man.
But why? Why couldn't he just make a new hero that had Will-o'-the-Wisp? Why did you have to kill my hero to do it?
Well, I think it's safe to say that Coddle's previous ultimate was boring as shit. Yeah. It was good, but it was boring. Like, is a player ever going to jump in and be like, man, I just love turning into a light form so that I can, like, okay, you can blast waves.
I just like how the rest of my hero is shitty when I don't have this.
Yeah, and your hero basically has to go like 4 points Illuminate, 4 points in Chakra Magic. Like, you wouldn't even get your ultimate at 6. Almost ever on Coddle. You just delay it because it wasn't worth it to get right away. But now he actually has an ultimate that does something. You can cast the Wisp thing. It gives you some team fight potential. You can Blinding Light. You have 2 nukes now with is it called Blinding Light?
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying Coddle is worse. I'm saying that he's a different hero. And I'm wondering why. Why just delete a hero?
Because if you didn't read the first change, removed Mana Leak and Spirit Form, and when you hide the question mark, it says Recall has been moved to Chen. That's why
I know,
you have to go play
hero.
Chen now.
I want to play Chen!
I mean, it got better. They made Chakra Magic not confusing. I reread it. It was like, we changed this. And I'm like, this is the same skill. It's just less confusing. You used to like increase your max mana pool. And then when it went away, it didn't decrease your mana. Now it just gives basically. Yeah, it just restores mana now. It's just the hero's just more straightforward. Blinding Light, you'll have it at all points in the game. It's just a long cooldown. You can give opponents 70% mischance. Like it's just going to be easier to play the hero now, by all means. And you still get the Ags benefits kind of by getting Ags. You still get the I don't know if you get Day Vision anymore, but you'll still get the heal from Illuminate. It's like all the benefits you might want.
I just don't like seeing cool ideas go away. Like Mana Leak's just gone.
Okay, Mana Leak
gone. Why don't they have an item that Mana Leaks? That'd be cool. Why can't they give me something?
It's a shitty mechanic, dude. It's not
Fuck
fun.
you!
It's like techies in the sense that you can't do anything against it. There's no counter.
It's like what?
Besides
how's it any different than Rupture? It's the exact same thing.
Yeah, but in the lane, it's like it has even more power than that, like pre-ultimates, you know?
Nobody gets it in lane really, but like in late game scenarios when you're trying to go high ground and somebody just like Mana Leak Blinding Lights you, you're like, well, there goes my carry's mana because he's only gonna be like 3 per second.
Yeah. I know.
And it's just the cooldown was kind of low. It was a good skill. I liked it for the stun duration and stuff like that, but it came on so late as well. Like the hero just needed slight reworks to make your second skill valuable before you're like level 12 or something.
It just scares me. Because I'm 100% sure Ice Frog took out Mana Leak because, as you said, it's hyper triggering and it is not a fun mechanic to play against. And if he's gonna go for Mana Leak, how long, dude? How long until he comes for techies? I can't. He killed Omni Knight too, which is also a hero about pissing people off and ruining their
Hey,
fun.
whoa! I saw Omni getting first phase banned in a lot of the pro matches, dude.
Dude.
This hero is scary now.
I gotta
How's he
start watching
ruined?
pro message. I think he suck. I don't understand the middle skill. You gotta buy like the holy locket and the spirit vessel. What am I, a pussy? I ain't buying that shit.
I don't
You don't have to buy
understand it.
I don't understand it. Regen? I don't understand it.
I mean, I kind of like
I actually
the
feel
way
good.
that Omni's changed. Because you can be reactionary now. It's like Repel was super broken in the days that Slacks abused it, basically. Like your heal range was really long. Repel was like a 2-second downtime, which is crazy for like going high ground, right?
Great.
So it's just kind of stupid, right? And if somebody initiates on your ally, yeah, you can like heal and repel them so they stop taking magic damage, but you couldn't remove the stun from them, which is kind of like he's more Abaddon like right now, which I think is kind of cool. Like he has better support skills, arguably as a reactionary hero. I think that's good. And all the status resistance that he gets from Heavenly Grace is potentially really good too, because you can cast that after something's on a guy. Like if somebody gets dueled, I bet if you Heavenly Grace him, the duel probably ends like really rapidly afterwards. So there's like a lot of cool benefits to this, especially because you're going to get an Aether Lens anyways, right? For cast range, probably if you're playing support.
Well,
So
you know
now
what's crazy?
you can Heavenly Grace Dispel.
Like, did you guys actually go in game and look at the AoE of Guardian Angel now? Good God.
Oh,
That
it's
is
huge.
insane.
Why even get an Ags?
I mean, this skill used to be so useless before without
Wow.
Ags.
Yeah.
Like,
It's
it was
1200
actually
radius.
terrible. But I think wow, that is.
I would
massive.
miss it. I would miss it on my cores all the time. When I'd be like, all right, time to Heavenly Grace and our Guardian's Angel, I'd miss it all the time. It was way too short.
All right, so
And
enough
this
about
is
my
the best
heroes.
they can do.
What do you guys got? What are your big hero impressions from the new meta? Because I've only, of course, been playing.
I saw Zayuri tweeting about Dazzle. Of course, he was real excited.
Dude,
Seems like
Dazzle,
core
let's get
Dazzle's
that
actually.
over with. That is the first pick of the pro scene right now.
Dizzler?
The big dog for sure.
Oh, he's so fucking annoying in the laning phase.
What
I don't know
item
what they
build did they
changed,
go?
but he's just like,
They
he never
they changed
stops.
nothing in the laning stage. He's literally the same hero.
Are pros
Every
buying
time I play
Midas?
against a Dazzle, it's constant spam. I don't know what it is.
No, I don't think pros are buying
He has
Midas.
to hit 6 for the constant spam.
Yeah.
I saw they were going mid. I saw one Dota, I haven't looked at the matches, but I do know
think
they're playing him.
It's pretty much being played literally in all 5 roles right now. So it's I've seen a position 1, I've seen 2, 3, 4, and 5. You
Sorry,
can play
but-
as like a dual
Dude.
off lane.
In
Is
there
position
actually
one,
coming?
it's just
Yeah.
like a better position 1 Venge, at least in her current state right now, because you get so much damage at level 10. The talent gives you like a permanent double damage rune. It's ridiculous. You get a
Yeah.
little bit of
Oh.
minus armor, a medallion, some phase boots or something. You could actually play a carry Dazzle that'll right click pretty hard for a good 30 minutes or so before he really falls
Yeah.
off.
And most
he's, like,
importantly,
he's good
infinite
push.
necros.
Yep.
I haven't tried that yet, but it sounds good. But
Midas
he's always
Necro
been like
is
a hero that
legit.
pushes. So
If you can
Yeah.
handle Necros. I hate playing Necros. It stresses me out, man. I get paranoid about feeding them away to the enemies, and it's too much
just
micro
don't
for my
care.
little peanut brain to handle. I just want to spam
I don't know.
spells.
It's so good.
Let him go.
You can poison touch people, send the necros after them to endlessly.
It's true.
You
Yeah.
can like walk them into a creep wave and heal them for damage. Like
Helm of the Dominator is actually, I haven't bought it on the patch, but it's still really good in theory because the creep resets your poison and the creep runs super, super fast. And
Yeah,
you can
but
split push
the whole
with it,
point of
use
that
it as a
before
ward.
was because necros you had no reason to buy necros on Dazzle, but now the necros are just straight up way better. So there's like
Yeah.
pretty much no reason you should buy Helm instead.
what do you mean they're way better? Did they get buffed again?
Oh, I just mean they're better because you can like affect the passive of them, whereas before Dazzle couldn't do that. But now that he can like actually affect the passive, why would you ever want the Helm creep where you don't benefit from the cooldown, whereas with
That's
the
a good
necros
point.
you do?
True.
Mhm.
True. Very good
Guys,
point.
enough about Dazzle, okay? The
Okay.
#1 support, Lion, my boy. He
Yeah.
has become a god for
Yeah.
many different reasons, but mostly because your team does not get mad at you if you steal kills. Oh, in fact, they encourage it. I was playing a game the other day as Lion, and my carry goes, Lion, you get the kill. Yeah, baby. Hell yeah, boy. It was like such a good fucking feeling. Oh,
Yeah, that was a really nice buff, and it
The
didn't even
big
make
question.
him overpowered.
Purge Trent,
Yep.
Lion mid. Is he the
Yeah,
new
I've
mid?
seen it. I think it's still pretty bad, but I think it's not instantly reportable anymore. I mean, people used to try and
well,
play it, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it was instantly reportable, but it's actually viable in a not high competitive level. But it's more than fine. Like if you want to snowball in it, it is so much better than it used to be.
Yeah.
And it's not just the fact that that your ulti is doing more damage. Which I mean, if you understand how Dota's balanced, it's like any hero that has burst damage. If their damage gets a little bit too high, it becomes overpowered basically because then you're always one-shotting people, and that's what Lion does now. So it's like if you're good and you're playing it correctly, it's really good. You can keep your momentum going and be a threat late game. And then there's all these like Kaya options now. I want a Kaya Yasha one game that I played him because I wanted more attack speed. I went like phase Kaya Yasha late game with Ags.
With
and it
like
worked
the
out.
damage talent.
Yeah, with the
Oh,
damage
that's pretty
talent.
awesome actually.
Because you want attack speed, the armor is good. It's better than the status resistance. Sanj is kind of shitty now, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And then you get like 12% more spell amp, and it had some mana reduction, which is okay on the hero. So there's like going a caster build is more viable now than it even was before. Before it was always like a storm spirit or like a Lina or maybe an invoker who just had so much nukes and already had kind of good right click. But now you can actually play more of like a nuker burst hero. So that's one of my favorite things about the patch as well.
The
It's like
Ags is
allowing
legit.
more diversity.
Do you like the Aghanims?
Yeah, Eggs is all if you're
For
playing
Lion?
Yeah.
role, it's mandatory basically.
What are you
'cause
fucking? Yeah, they
it
get into
lowers-
a. You get 3. You kill 3 dudes at once.
Yeah, it's great.
Oh,
So-
that's a,
well, the other
It
thing
lowers
that
the
makes
cooldown
him
to 20
scale
seconds.
is the AoE hex talent. Is that 20 or 25?
25.
It's
25.
It's okay. I sometimes get that, sometimes don't.
What's the
Some
other?
it's
games
good.
it's very game winning if they have like some Lincoln's hero that you can't kill. Then
Or
it's like
illusion
god
heroes.
tier.
Yeah,
because
dude.
then it goes to like
What's
but
the
the
other
long,
talent
long
that you get?
man. other- the long
1,000 burst
stun.
spike range.
Yeah.
That one's actually
Long,
if you're support, that one's sometimes a lot. Just because you can stun without blinking in, basically. That one has a higher win rate in game.
Yeah.
It's got health talent, finger of death, gold, GPM, damage talent. It's like phase boots is perfect on him as a core now because it just gives him armor, and he already gets all this HP from like Ags, so it's like just beautiful attacks.
Okay.
It's
Doesn't
good.
matter.
It's not
You
bad.
could turn the entire team into fucking frogs or whatever, but there's nothing better than hitting them with the big dick of the law from fucking fog and then ulting their entire team. Oh, God, I love Lion. He's
I had a
so
fun
good.
game. Yeah. And it doesn't even make him overpowered too. It just makes him like more enjoyable to play. Where if you're not like really good at ganking, you can still feel useful late game.
So
Exactly.
I got another one that Trent and I were arguing about, and I'm curious to hear what Slacks and Purge think. Huskar. I finally got to play a few games against him. I think he is pretty dumpster right now. Has he been played in the pro scene at all since the patch hit?
I think I saw one game, but I didn't actually watch it. I just saw that he'd been picked. But
without the like spell resistance. I don't understand what this hero is supposed to do now. Like the knockbacks are like, oh, that's cute. All right, I'm disarmed for a few seconds. Now we're gonna kill you. He just doesn't. To me, he doesn't fill a role anymore. He might be the big loser of the patch in my book.
I would say this is a expected loser, like one where they had to nerf him because like Drow Ranger, it was just like 2 boomer busts. If your hero's like too damn good at this one little thing they do, but they're like kind of crappy at other stuff, then they just have to stay in this like cheesy position. So if you remove the magic resistance, now any hero that does burst damage is good against Huskar basically. And I think that's a good thing. It's going to suck for him right now, but in the long run, it'll be much better for the hero because they can now start buffing and nerfing him in different ways that'll make him playable in the end.
yeah, I don't know. He looks pretty good to me, to be honest. So I'm curious to see how he winds up. I think he still looks kind of strong, to be honest, though.
Armor
think he's-
Locket does sound like it could be good. He has so much regen that if there might be some potential. I see a lot of people in chat
But-
talking about it, but I
this
I
patch
haven't
isn't
seen
going
it.
to
Pro or anecdotal or whatever. I have not seen it. He seems just very pickable. Like how does Lion just not hard counter that hero?
Oh, he does.
I mean, Lion how counters everyone though.
Some more than others, you know.
I don't know. I kind of like how he feels like more of a playmaker now, kind of like you kind of jump in, you try and take away a big percentage of their HP, create some chaos with a disarm and a big AoE damage. Like your whole game's probably not based off your Huskar anymore, but he looks like a really he's a better lane dominator than like Viper still was in like Viper's prime when Viper was like the win lane lose game hero. I feel like Huskar's still better than that. And then it's like your whole game can't hinge on the hero, but it still feels like he is a place in like a mid-game space creation way.
He's definitely a lane dominator in the right situation.
Maybe you just
I'll
need
give
like
you
a hood or some bracers for magic resistance, or maybe you get an ag so your ulti cooldown's really low. That way you're always like jumping into enemy heroes and lowering your health and lowering their health. Maybe there's like people will figure something out at some point. It's just probably not going to be right now. Like he's probably still playable though. You just have to be kind of careful about when you go all in if you buy magic resistance.
Well, so
I
who
see
do you
people-
think is the big loser of this patch? Who's like the unplayably bad hero from
clinkz.
7.20?
Yeah, okay, I can go for that.
Why do you guys think clinkz is so bad? I only played him one game and I had a draw on my team, so maybe that was why. But I didn't think his ultimate was that bad. Why does everybody think it's so shit?
Really? I was watching that game, dude. I saw that ulti. It looked like hot garbage. It's like people were just like
Did you watch
running away
did you watch
from
the
you.
whole game?
Yeah, you were. No,
Sometimes
I didn't.
Sometimes it was weak, but I mean, again, it was a sub game, so it was in prime snowball territory, and clinkz does that.
Yeah.
But it felt okay. Like you can get vision if people are juking around a tree line. You can drop the ulti there. I mean, they basically buffed it like 3 times. The level 1 ultimate is equivalent to like the first when it first came out, like the level 3 ultimate attack speed now. It attacks like really fast. The cast range got increased, which was nice for usability. It's just a different hero is all. It's like you scale a little weirder than you used to, but it's still way better team fight than clinkz had before. That's undoubtable.
I guess so. I don't know. I was surprised you could even not only kill the skeletons, I was surprised that they didn't just all pop up at once. And then I was shocked at how slow they pop up. Like maybe my expectations were just so high, but the second I started testing it, I was just like, this seems terrible.
I just laughed the first time I saw it. Some clinkz like fucking was trying to get a skill shot on me. I was running away with 0 HP, and he's like, "Hiya!" They just like spawn. Hello. They're so slow and it's just garbage. Although you can taunt and they dance, so that is hype.
That's true.
So,
Fair.
People will get better with it when they practice it more. I genuinely think it's okay, but I'll have to try it again without a draw ranger and maybe not.
It felt to me like kind of a shittier Rasta Wards in that sense, where it's pretty easy to play around in like solo queue pub games where you just have to get into that mindset of he drops the ult, you just back away, and it just doesn't really do anything. You know, it needs to be comboed with something. There's no.
But yeah, you can gank with it. You know, like break invis, start attacking some guy, drop the ulti where they're gonna run, where you don't have vision necessarily, and you get a bunch of extra attacks.
It
so
comes
it's
out pretty slow though. I feel like you have a good window to react to it.
But the range is huge. Like the cast range is big now, and as long as like you're attacking a guy that has to run through it, basically, like you're gonna get an extra like 5 or 6 attacks in, and it does do your searing arrows damage. So it's not like the damage is bad. It's just you have to use it in the right circumstances. But again, maybe I just had like a good game, but it felt pretty okay. Like his win rate has gone down, but people are going to adjust. It's down to 1% pick chance.
So he drops it. I heal my team, grave the low guy, and we run away. And it's just like, what happened? Why was that a thing? You know. But
you are picking arguably the most broken hero and saying that as the
To answer the question, 2 heroes that got fucked on.
Right.
Crystal Maiden. Oh, have you guys played Crystal or seen Crystal?
Her
frostbite. She does not. It doesn't stun anymore. It's just a root, so you can do whatever you want. You can cast spells while you're frostbitten. Oh my god!
you can interrupt. Well, you could always cast spells when you're frostbitten.
It was never
you can interrupt
hard stun.
TPs.
Yeah, well, something's worse on her because she fucking sucks now. I played that and it made my heart hurt.
I think were you maxing Q?
Mine?
Yeah, did you max
no.
the Q?
Well, no.
That's your problem right there.
Also, I want to talk about Lich.
That's my boy. That is the patch winner. Big dick Lich now.
Big dick Lich. Talk to me about Lich because I haven't played him yet, and I'm very interested because I mean he needed sacrifice so much. It was so utility. Is he good now?
So if you were mad about Coddle, you're gonna be upset about this one because he's a lot different. He's not that passive. I always have mana. He's a fucking killer now. He gets out there. He's hunting.
He doesn't suck, that's for sure. His new skills are all ridiculous. They somehow made a skill like way better than Sacrifice. That Frost Shield is unbelievable in the lane.
They took Lich and they just threw away his boring ass skills. They're like, these skills? Nah, get rid of them.
Get out of here.
So he's got 2 more nukes or 2 more disable skills. He's got a stun basically. He's got a physical damage resistance, AoE damage slow thing. It's like he's got to be way more fun to play. He's going to be worse in lane because you can't just like mindlessly deny creeps.
No, he's way better in lane. Yeah, he actually because you can just kill like the Frost Shield. I'm sure it's going to get nerfed, but it starts level 1 at a 35% slow, and if you have any carry that's like somewhat decent, they can just obliterate the enemy laners.
Dude, or you go off lane. You know, I do like an Ogre Lich. You just run at him, you know, like a Lich Axe. Put the Frost Shield on. Axe closes the gap. You just fuck on him. It's pretty darn good.
I think the one issue, though, and you guys will notice the first game you play as Lich is the mana. There are definitely mana issues now. I mean, no doubt he lost Sacrifice, but he has 4 spells that you're casting that are all pretty high cost. You pretty much have to have Clarities running the entire time, and you need a mana item.
You need
or you're just running back to base constantly.
Yeah.
Dude, have you guys played against Night Stalker yet? What the fuck is that hero? What is he, the Vampire King? He just has an AoE never-ending silence. I'm just,
Dude,
it's literally the worst.
We were pushing high ground in this game I was playing, and the only chance to win the game was the Enigma blinking in, and my team got too clumped up, but the Night Stalker had preemptively popped his silence, and this Enigma just blinks into an AoE silence and dies, and it was like the funniest thing I've ever seen.
It's terrifying. I mean, Night Stalker was already a bane of supports, and now he's just like, you can't even initiate on his ass. It's so scary.
He was so bad in the last patch, though.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't great.
Void got so nerfed. It's just like unusable during the day, more or less. I think the changes are good, though. The toughest thing is that you can't make it nighttime a lot of the time anymore. But at least he has a team fight ultimate, arguably. Like they basically just went through the game and said, line up all the shitty, boring ass ultimates and fucking change them so that they're more fun to play. And I think that's a good way to change.
One thing that I don't like about Night Stalker though is that like he's a very vision based hero, which makes it very hard to balance him because I think vision's one of those things that's like super like peaks really hard and stuff. But the fact now the ultimate has a damage component kind of takes away a lot of his support potential to me because you can't like it gives you flat damage and so it's hard to invest into the attack speed. Yeah,
it has kind of ruined his support potential. You're definitely right about that because otherwise you're just not ready to go most of the time. His win rate's still really low in game too. Yeah. It's down to like 43. So but he'll get some buffs.
Maybe like some mid Night Stalkers, probably like mid and offlane Night Stalker will probably be the most likely places to see him.
He could definitely work in a 3 role. I think Ogre is also another big winner. I've been playing him a lot. He feels very easy, same old classic Ogre, just bashing stuff. But now, like, you can definitely make a case for Midas. Several of my games have been won from really greedy Ogres going like Midas into Ags, Blink Dagger, and then
I'm sure that item's still so dumb.
Dude, have you seen a 4x Hex with a Blink Ogre? He just jumps in, hexes their entire team. That's a game winner right there, man. That's your 4 turning into a core if I've ever heard.
That is like peak Hearthstone, dude. Like, what is this shit?
Hope this works. Oh, God.
His win rate in game tanked, though. He lost 8% win rate for Divine players. He's down to 43.5% from 51.5. You're probably right. It's probably because they're overbuying. They're buying the wrong items.
It feels so good, though. In the right games, oh my God. It's incredible.
Well, I guess Ignite's different. It doesn't multicast Ignite anymore.
Well, but it always does 2 when you use it. So level 1, you can get it on 2 heroes like fighting over bounties. It's quite good.
Huh.
That part's pretty neat because we're still in a 2-1-2 meta at least. But...
Yeah. Dude, Ogre is a fucking bully master. I highly recommend Purge. You could play some core Ogre. I've been queuing Ogre in the 3, getting some farm. It's actually not that bad.
Dagon double.
Fun.
Oh.
You feel okay getting a Midas when you're on the 3 also. And
you know what hero got it the worst?
Huh.
There's a couple actually. I just sorted by percentage change. Ogre was down there. Spectre is down to like a 42% win rate.
Thank God.
Who else got nailed? OD was kind of reworked partially, and it got worse for him. He's really low. Bristleback's down to the 41 percentile.
Jesus.
There's a couple of heroes that got it bad.
Is that all MMR, or are you just looking at 5?
I'm sorting in-game with Dota Plus for global trends at Divine and above players. So it's relative. Storm is down to 41%. Storm got really hit. Storm definitely got messed up by the patch, and a huge.
Good.
I think, not surprisingly, I know KBBQ, Mr. Jack, has been taking this advice as on Dota Buff, the biggest winner was Sand King, and that's all I see him playing right now. Every time I open my Dota client, Jack's in a Sand King game.
Sand King.
He's up to 57%.
Yeah, everyone just goes Vanguard. Oh, look, Jack's playing right now. Oh, he's playing Captain's Mode in a private lobby. Wow. He's scrimming. Ooh. Look at that guy hard at work.
I mean, Sandstorm no longer channeled. You just chill in it. That's fucking dope, dude.
Yeah.
His laning is very irritating. And he just like buys Vanguard, then goes back for a blink, or you just get a hood or a pipe or whatever. You don't even necessarily need the blink. It feels like his ulti's still garbage though. Like imagine if his ulti actually did something. This hero would be so broken.
There's been so many like survivability items put in, like like pipe. Hood is a lot easier and common to buy. Raindrops. There's just a lot of ways to survive AoE damage like that.
Yeah.
Huh.
He barely got changed, but it sounds like the way to play him now is basically how you played off lanes in the last patch. Just go to your lane, get your last hits, build a tanky item, and just never leave, constantly harassing.
Has anybody played some Bounty Hunter? Because that was another cool change. But he's been ass tier in the games that I've seen. I mean,
it looks like he got a 3% win rate increase. So he's better, but it was overhyped.
People don't understand what reliable gold is, you know? Like they just walk up. I see level 1 bounty hunters walking up to us in the like before the game even starts. And they're like, "Ha! Took your money, dum dum."
Hey, he still gets the gold.
What the fuck are you doing? I know.
Even if he doesn't steal any gold, he still gets gold.
Or does he? Okay.
Yeah, he
Does
does.
he?
Who's the
So
dumb
it's still
dumb
worth
now?
it. Yeah.
I guess I'm the dum dum now.
Uh-oh.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know.
It really speaks to the player base of Dota 2 that he was like the 4th biggest pick rate increase. Like everyone just wants to fucking steal some gold. Like,
I mean, that was the one thing that I read in the whole patch. I was like, this is the thing I want to try the most first.
yeah.
So I definitely understand that.
Are you
Not
serious?
But
surprisingly,
That was the
Lion
one?
was the
Broken.
largest with plus 20% pick rate. That's actually insane.
Who?
Lion.
Lion.
Lion. Hey,
Wow.
what do? You make things fun. People want to play it, I guess.
Yeah. I don't think the bounty change is necessarily bad. It felt weird playing it because all my habits are wrong. Like you're supposed to track before you break invis now to get a guaranteed crit, for example.
Yeah.
So you could reveal that you're there too early, kind of. And you don't like your items don't scale quite the same. But I think people are just probably playing him too much right now. And as they start playing him in the world that he probably should be, which is probably still like a 4 or 5, then it'll get better.
I don't know. I don't think you can play him support. Well, I mean, you can play him support, but I think his supporting's a lot worse now, though. Just because, like, now he has a crit-based thing going on with the ultis, so, like, that means that you want actual items, and I don't know if you can go the same sustain kind of builds, and then
Probably
your track
can't.
doesn't affect your allies in terms of movement speed anymore.
So
It's
what?
true.
You think he's a 3?
I
But you
think
can
it's
also
like,
pivot.
yeah, like one of those like 3.5 kind of deals where like you lane with someone who, you know, you get out the nice early farm and then you transition into harassing and stalking enemies with like some decent early gold when someone else takes the waves, maybe.
I dig.
Because you can't farm waves, right? So you need a support that can at least clear lanes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he can still 4 probably. It's just you have to get on the map and get a little active is all.
Yeah.
Bounty Hunter Lich, dude. Let's go.
That could work.
But the invis track is definitely nice. I will give him that for sure.
Yeah, that was a nice change.
The Tide one was pretty surprising. I mean, that's kind of Dota 1 is, right? Didn't he used to like buy Battle Fury and then he'd like spin around or something? So it kind of made
It
me
was
think
just
of
the
that.
same. It was just the same animation. So your anchor smash animation would have you do like, what was it like? It was like a hero that kind of looked like Tide, but he had an anchor, and you would do
Right.
like an anchor animation when his passive procced, and it was the same with Battle Fury. So people just bought it because it looked the same, but it wasn't actually good on the hero. Just look.
Fair,
Dope.
but I guess now he is kind of a actual right-click damage hero. So I've seen some interesting builds in pubs. Been seeing some like Desos and crits, Chrysalis and stuff from some. I mean, it's obviously just people kind of fucking around on like top games, but still interesting nonetheless.
I mean, I think you
think
can make a
it's
case
just
for going
misleading.
carry Tusk now, like mid Tusk. If you snowball out of control, he does a lot of
So
damage.
I get it.
I
Hey.
don't know. Tusk seems good. I'm excited to play more Tusk, I think.
I haven't seen
He was
it
played
much,
last
but
night. See,
it sounds good.
All right, boys. Are we ready? Any other thoughts on this? We moving on. We've been talking about this stupid patch forever.
I
think
gotta
that was
go.
You know, we covered some heroes. Were there any other? I mean, you know, you can go to Purge's patch analysis video. Slacks, I'm sure, has talked about the patch on his stream. So
No.
great. Okay. Well, that was a nice overview. Any other closing thoughts about the patch, impressions, disappointments before we move on? Closing.
Everybody
Happy
says
Grimstroke
Nagas, bro.
got added.
Oh,
Fuck
I was gonna
Grimstroke.
say.
Grimstroke.
I'm
Happy
over
he
it.
got added to
I don't like it.
Captain's mode. Fastest way to get balanced. So
garbage.
what? Grimstroke?
Grimstroke.
No,
Garbage.
not garbage.
He's getting
Wrong
banned out of
hero.
the game, dude.
Dude, I saw in NADCL last night there was a support duo of Lich and Grimstroke, and they got Doom, who now has that ridiculous HP regen, and they kept giving him Frost Shield and Ink Swell, and they just
Oh
took
my
over
God.
the game. It was like 50 HP regen Doom just ran at the Frempo God,
not
was just
garbage.
winning it.
That's pretty legit. I'm into that.
Yeah, it was real nice.
Grimstar glitch is good.
Yeah,
Everybody
and then
says
it
Naga's
syncs with the
broke?
ulti too.
Is this?
What'd
Has anyone
what'd you
played
say,
against a
Sid?
Naga? I haven't played against Naga.
I've
Oh,
had her on
Naga
my
one
broke?
team
game.
a few times in the one.
It's definitely better. It's a good change if you want her to not have to go Radiance to be viable as a core.
I think she's still a little slow to come online. I think I've had it in my team twice. Both times I played Dazzle. First game was pretty bad. Second game we won, but I think we just kind of outskilled them more than the Naga was particularly good. It seems like Diffusal first is the item, and then after that, Manta, or I guess you could make a case for like Vanguard into Basher at some point for an Abyssal
Yeah.
Heart as well. You know, classic illusion stuff just tank up, take over the game. I think
She
you're
just
on
needed
a
a rework.
clock though. She doesn't like in both games. It was Naga versus Slark as the competing ones, and it seemed like Slark just straight up did more damage. You know, like we had to rely on pickoffs and movements, whereas a straight up 5v5 Slark would just tear through us. So I don't know.
Surprised
just hard
everyone's
to
talking
buy.
about how she's so busted and she's like 50% win rate right now.
Yeah. I think
The
execution
side
is
is
still
good.
still good. You know, she still has the ensnare, which is good, and the ultimate is incredible if used right. So I think the skill cap is still there for her, but the average game, she's not super easy to execute.
Dumbest change that I hate the absolute most is the Monkey King thing. I don't know what the fuck that was. I don't know why he suddenly has Jaunt.
Oh.
Why does he have 0.3 seconds of invulnerability
You mean
every
phase
20
shift?
odd seconds?
Jaunt
to make
is
it more useful.
not,
The hero was already broken.
He was not broken. He was collectively good, but
Okay,
I
he was
wouldn't say
high
broken.
tier. He wasn't. Yeah, you couldn't
was
like.
high
Well,
tier.
actually, everyone did first pick him. I don't know.
He's got
He
a
was very
45%
strong.
win rate for divine players. I mean, he won some TI games by all means. Definitely very
And
good.
major games.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know.
Ah.
I don't understand how this guy just gets phase shift. But anyway, continue.
I hear you.
I'm done.
All
I
right,
don't
you're
care
done.
about no Dota no more.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, so let's talk about a little bit of drama.
Should we talk about Artifact first?
Artifact.
Artifact. Yeah. So when did the
Yay!
NDA actually lift? It lifted. It happened
Saturday.
at the end of the KL Major. Like we were still in Kuala Lumpur
Yeah.
when Artifact was kind of coming out or whatever. So Purge, you
It
were
came out
streaming at
4
the beginning.
p.m. Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And the
BTS
major
was
was
doing.
Sun-
Was it their house party? Is that what it was
They
called?
invited a bunch of top Artifact players
Yeah.
from the beta, yeah.
And then I saw
Invited us.
Crip was streaming, and I saw Forsen was streaming, and then a bunch of other folks that I hadn't really heard of too much. So, you got a jump start on us, buddy. How was it? What was the launch like? Did you have a big party?
I did. I had a little more viewers the second day stream. The first day, I think I had about 2K, but I was super excited because I'd been waiting to talk about it for so long. And there was times where I've been casting the last month or two where I almost described a hero in their artifact way, like, oh, Magnus is pretty tanky early on because he has 1 armor and artifact, but that wasn't true in Dota, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of nice to just be able to open the floodgates and let it all come out finally. So that was nice. I had a pretty good first day. I won a lot of packs, I guess. But there was a lot of drama because I had to deal with a lot of people saying it was all pay to win and shit, which was kind of obnoxious. But Valve basically solved all those problems within a day. So really props them. I didn't think, I guess my impression was that my viewpoint is right and that Valve didn't really need to change much, but they did the smart thing and they basically just made the game less cost to play. Basically, you can basically buy the game and play the draft mode endlessly now because you can play the casual one. And they also put in a recycle cards to make tickets, which they put in, which is really cool because on the market, basically all the common cards are going to be dirt cheap. No one's going to want them because you only need 3, right? So you would sell your extra ones. But if you sell something for really low on Steam, Valve gets a bigger cut. They get like 2 cents of the 3 cents or something. So you end up not making much money. But now you can recycle a common, 20 commons to make a ticket. So it's a 5-cent value. So they guarantee that any common that you ever get is basically worth 5 cents if you want a ticket, which basically just loses them money right off the bat. They put that in so you can basically endlessly gain tickets if you're good enough to open packs, and you can endlessly play draft now. They open up on more and more things, so really good by them. They basically solved all the drama the day after the beta went up.
That's impressive. I guess the initial complaints were that it wasn't first you have to buy the game, which is sort of weird for card games in our current age. Then after that, you have to buy packs if you want to play the game, or you have to buy cards off the marketplace. And then after that, you still had to pay to enter to do is it drafts? Is that what it's called? Like their equivalent
draft.
of arena, whatever. So it was just too many layers of payment, and I guess there was that anecdote of the one person who opened a bunch of packs and was super unlucky and got a bunch of commons. So it just felt like, what did I just pay for? You know, and that was
you can't get unlucky on commons basically, but definitely there were people that felt that it was too expensive. But part of the problem is that the market isn't open yet. The market's not going to open until the game goes live.
Right.
So like when we were streaming it that first day, there's still only like 500 people in the beta. So like there's very low card variety. You're only playing against really experienced players. Well, now it's better now that the opener beta came up. That was Monday for people that went to TI. There's more people in it that I don't recognize now. But like once the market comes out, I'm guessing that you can probably buy every single common card game for like less than $2. It won't be that little because it'll still be like 4 cents each. But you can get almost every card in the game for very low cost. And Valve did a really good job, in my opinion, balancing the rare cards, because like heroes are definitely needed. Like a rare hero is going to cost a good amount of money, but you only need one. You don't need 3 of those. So like once you get all the heroes and you buy almost all the commons, you basically have a shitload of the cards. And a lot of the best cards in draft anyways are actually common cards. Like a lot of the rare cards are actually very situational or sometimes garbage, arguably. So I think they balance it pretty good. It's only going to get better once the market comes up.
How much is Axe going to cost on the market when the game drops? What's your prediction?
Baby.
Call it right here.
I think a rare hero is going to definitely cost. Maybe not definitely, but I'm semi-confident that they'll be less than $10 every rare. Like, and I think most of them will be far less than $10. Because again, as you open more packs, you're going to keep getting. You're going to sell anything you have more than one.
I'm curious, Slacks. Do you concur?
Slacks, you don't think so?
I want a price estimation right now. What do you think Axe is going to sell for in the first 24 hours after the game drops?
Who fucking cares?
Well, that's a bad example. 24 hours. The prices are going to be really inflated right after it comes out. But
exactly.
I mean, nobody knows. There's no answer to that. I mean, everyone thinks that it's going to be so expensive, but I mean, this is not an actual economy, you goddamn idiots. There's not a limited amount of Axe cards. Axe will be forever open forever. And this is always what happens. The thing comes out and they're like, oh God, I'm going to sell this for $400. And then a week later, it's like, oh, well, they're worthless now. That's great. I mean, people are so stupid, dude. The whole artifact thing is so fucking stupid. The other day I was reading somebody complaining that they couldn't grind for chances to unlock stuff. Free your mind from mobile gaming, you goddamn fools. All right? The grind is only there to make you get upset so that you actually just spend money. Just spend the money like an adult. Go mow a lawn. All right? Spend the freaking money. Quit getting addicted to slot machines, for Christ's sakes. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
Yeah, I felt the same way the first day, to be honest. Just because, like, everyone was just so upset that it cost $20 to play the game, and I'm like, I mean, maybe in lower socioeconomic countries they can't make it cheaper there probably because the benefits you get are whatever the same. So, but if you do well in Gauntlet and you get a free pack, if you get a good rare, you can sell that shit for cold hard cash and give Valve like a 15% cut. Whereas if you go to Hearthstone, and again, I haven't played a lot of
Steam cash,
like it's cold hard Steam cash that you can then spend to buy more tickets or buy more packs. But in like Hearthstone, if you open a pack and you get a legendary that you don't want and you want to turn it into a different legendary, you have to dust that for 25% of its actual value. So you'd have to open by buying packs 4 legendaries you don't want before you can turn them into one legendary you do want. So like Hearthstone is 25, you get 25% of your value. In Artifact, you're going to get like 85% of the card's actual value. So if you open a really good rare that people want, you could just instantly have like $7, I'm guessing, and then sell that on the market and then open like 3.5 more packs.
Now let me clarify
good benefits.
something here. Thank you. I'm not saying fuck poor people. In fact, I've been poor a long time. I've been poor shit a lot longer than I've had enough money to pay rent. Let me tell you, okay? But at the same time, I don't know who said it, but someone said if something's free, then what they're selling is you. You are the thing that they are selling. Okay?
I think that was Mao. Pretty sure.
Don't know. Whatever. But
anyway,
if you're not paying for something, then they're selling you. They're trying to get inside of your head. They're trying to either sell your information like old Facebook, or they're trying to coax you into paying money that you don't want to pay. That's 10 times more money than you would have paid originally. All right? So just save up your $20, play the Phantom decks, and be over with it, okay? Don't get addicted to gambling and the grind. It will get you, all right? Got to be careful. That's all I'm saying. Is it a good business strategy to do what they did? Fuck no. That was one of the most turbulent drops of any game I've ever seen. Literally, the community, I mean, only Diablo Mobile beat it. But is it technically what I think the right thing to do by not trying to get people addicted to the grind and waste all their money? A little bit. I don't know.
But a lot of that is that people, when they're not in the game yet, all they're gonna if there's people that really want to play the game, that's why everybody's so toxic. They all really want to play the game right now, so all they're doing is thinking and watching and talking about Artifact. That's why it was bad to do like a beta release when the game's super hype. It was good because it's gonna let people like me make some sick cash, which is awesome. But like people want to get in and play the game, right? And they want to be able to jump in the game. And if they can't just jump in and figure things out, they're just going to theory craft and like make assumptions. It's just like
Yeah.
a typical Reddit thread thing. So that was the negative to doing what they did, is that they got hype around their game and all, but it's going to lead to drama at the start if people aren't perfectly happy. And luckily, they cut that shit off right away. They cut the head off the chicken that was mad or whatever. And I think it's going to be all fine from here on out, personally.
You know, I keep thinking about like when World of Warcraft was first announced and they said it would be a $15 subscription monthly to play the game. There was a lot of blowback, right? There were a lot of free MMOs that were way shittier that you could play. And Blizzard's argument that kind of won people over was, hey, if we just charge this money up front, that prevents or allows us to not engage in shitty pay-to-win business models or over-the-top cosmetics. And there was a good like 5-year window where WoW was just pay to play. There was no pay to win element, and it was just a game. You know, there's a clear benefit to giving Blizzard that money up front. And I think you can draw a similar parallel here. It attracts a different kind of clientele. I think that's what the point you were trying to make was, Slacks. You know, you have a group of people that are more invested in the game by default. And, you know, with a game like Hearthstone, you might have the raw numbers, but you have a shitload of these people playing the game that don't really care about it. I don't know. I think it's nice.
It was the inverse of Team Fortress 2. Fortress 2 used to be one of the greatest games ever made, and then they made it free to play, and it turned into a fucking My Little Pony shit factory. God, that game went to shit. They fixed that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Charge a little bit of money. Make people get invested. It's just like what Purge said with the Gauntlet thing. If Gauntlet's free, it's going to be fucking garbage because everyone's just going to keep re-rolling until they get a really broken thing.
Yep.
Put a little bit of money in it, $1, make a little paywall, and suddenly people take it a little bit more seriously, and it ain't so shit. I mean, even having a phone number attached to rank has increased how good ranked has been, for me at least, a long
100%.
time ago. So sorry, that's the real world. You want to have
100%.
fun, sometimes you got to pay money. And fucking PC gamers are the worst people at that. I come from an Xbox gamer, okay? I was like, $60 for a video game? Whoopee! You guys are like, I'm going to wait till this $1.50 on Steam. 3 more years, guys. Jesus. Anyway.
I just bought Assassin's Creed Black Flag, guys, for $11. Never played it. Always heard it was really good. So very excited to give it a go. I want to be a pirate.
That game is so dope, dude. Oh.
Yeah, I heard. I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, God, it's good. All right.
Wow.
Are we ready?
I think
I'm
it's
done
time.
with Artifact. Oh.
Hold on, I'm still doing the tutorial. I'm totally owning with Sven right now, guys. This Necrophos is about to get fucked on.
Well, good on you.
Thank you.
So let's talk about the big elephant in the room, the big kahuna. Right now, there's talk of the next major. This is major number 2, the Chongqing Major. It'll be in China, of course, run by Starladder and iLeague. There's absolutely some local government involvement supporting the event, helping with visas, all that kind of stuff, as is pretty usual with these massive events in China. We're all pretty aware at this point of the racism stuff that's going on, specifically with Cuckoo and Skemberloo, both of them typing unsavory things into public chat areas. And oh boy, China got pretty upset about that, and now they're saying that those players will be explicitly banned from attending this major. And this is really controversial for a number of reasons, but I think the big one is that this is an independent organizer basically saying these players are not allowed to participate in this DPC event. And that's a big deal because there's a lot of points available. This could be the difference of, TI for these teams that are going to be on the cusp. TNC is, I think, a pretty good example of a team that's certainly not a shoo-in for TI with DPC. So it's a little wild. I think a lot of people are hoping / wondering if and when Valve will step in and say whether this is okay or not, whether a major has the authority to do this, and whether or not penance has already been paid in terms of suspensions, fines, apologies, what have you. I think there's a lot of people asking, what more do you want from these players at this point? They admitted they messed up for the most part. I guess the Cuckoo one is still a little, but yeah, I think that's a fairly good summary. Slacks, what's your take on the whole?
I'm saving. I gotta hear you guys first. I'm saving. I've been cooking this one for so long.
Great!
You guys know I love drama, and this is.
I'm glad that you can.
Well, I think the most important thing to remember is that part of there's always been a big separation community-wise from different languages. Like even the Russian community to the English there's some good crossover, but the Chinese community to the Western community, there's always been not much crossover just because the average Western person doesn't speak Mandarin. I think that's part of it. And it's hard for me to understand sometimes like I understand why they're upset, because there is way too much casual racism in Dota. It's always been like that. When Dota 2 first got popular, everybody blamed Brazilians for winning NA pubs. Then they started blaming Peruvians, which has still been the typical blame game. All that shit is not okay, and that's why I don't do it. But the Chinese fan base has been very upset about it, and it's kind of been like one of those dramas where I didn't get it. I thought that it was handled okay enough, and that the responses were okay at first, and then the drama just kept staying around, and I'm like, this drama's here longer than I expected it to be, and it's hard to see it from their viewpoint to the same level of anger, because what they expected to happen hadn't happened, and it's just kind of blown over and accelerated to this point where it's now led to players being banned. So it's basically hard to see it from their point to the same extent. I'm not as upset about it as they are. I get that Cuckoo's org, I believe, I don't know if it's him or whatever, but they tried to mislead about saying that, oh, it was because a player in the game had the wrong name. So he basically misled, and lying about a drama thing that happens is always the worst thing to do. But I mean, Valve put out a statement, and it just kind of sucks. I just wanted to give more context because I felt like there was a little bit more to add.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's a complicated thing. It's been going on for weeks now. I mean, this is sort of overshadowed. There was definitely an undertone of this major in KL with just all sorts of social media talks and cross posts from our subreddit and whatever the forum is that they use in China primarily. The thing that's weird about the Cuckoo situation as well is that partway through the major, the manager made a statement saying that it wasn't Cuckoo at all, and that's why he hasn't apologized. That he was the one that like logged in and did it on his behalf. And
so they lied. They lied at least once.
Right.
So the first time they lied when they said that it was someone who made someone changed their name, right? He was like, "Oh no, it was someone in my game had that name," and that was a lie, right?
Yeah,
that was my understanding.
Yeah, and then now they're saying that the manager did it, and it wasn't even Cuckoo too. So it's
I'm sure they could sit the manager down, and be like, "Can you play this hero equally good?"
Yeah,
I don't know.
So
it's just the poor damage control, and part of it, I also feel bad because there's so many different cultures that are participating in Dota 2 as a scene, and part of the problem in that sense is that PR is in a better place, you could say, in America for the most part, unless you're the president. And as a result, like, we're forcing all of these other countries to abide by the same PR standards as us, and what we think is okay as a business. And in a lot of cases, like, I just let these things go most of the time because they just don't understand, because they're in a very different culture. Like the Ice example, it's like he just didn't understand the context because he's not around people of color in the same way that he would be if he lived in America. He doesn't understand the issues. So it's like but now that
like dense though, the guy's traveled the world for like 8 years, like that. I don't think that matters personally. He should, like, it's his responsibility to know if he's going to use the word, but it's very easy when you only see parts of America's culture to not realize how touchy of a subject it is. To bring up slavery, basically, against black people. So, for example, like, as long as he apologizes and says, "I shouldn't have said that. I didn't realize. I'm sorry." Did he ever apologize though?
I don't remember. I just remember seeing the drama.
I think he literally got fined and didn't. So.
Which is also a decent solution, and he got banned from Twitch for a bit, temporarily. So it's hard to force everyone under the same cultural understanding, and because now there's going to be outliers like this where the Chinese community feels that it was not addressed properly, and so they're really upset, and now they want what they think is the right repercussions. And in this case, because the major's in China, they have a way to force that by Chinese netizens or Chinese citizens pushing the local province to ban it. So it's like we're just seeing that, like, problem where not everyone sees it the same way, but the people that have the highest standards are going to force these things. And I just hope it's not a permanent ban or something. If it's like one major, I think that's like as far as this should go. Ban those two guys from one major in China, but forever more time, you should let them play, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, they don't have the authority to lifetime ban them anyway. Only Valve could.
I'm just saying they could do it again in
They could
further
ban them
majors
from
in
China,
China.
though.
They could ban it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
From-
true. Lifetime ban from China. That would make TI very, very interesting. I think undoubtedly part of what's so hard for everyone to just like let this go or whatever is that it feels like there's a degree of double standard based on, you know, like some of the stuff Mind Control has said in the past, the Ice example as well, where it's basically even like No Tail used the F word at a summit, you know, Summit 4 or 5 or whatever it was. There was a little outcry for a few days and then it just blew over. All these things, it just feels like, well, what? And for some of those, there wasn't even really an apology issued. You know, it was just kind of forgotten about and swept under, and we all just moved on. And this feels like the furthest opposite extreme in terms of reaction, where now players are being barred from an event that really could impact their future of this circuit. I mean, TI's, you know, the big one. That's where all the money's at. So it's a shit sandwich. I mean, I feel for both sides, but I feel like this is getting a little extreme. I don't know, Slacks.
Okay,
I really
can I
want to hear
start?
your thought here.
Yes, please.
All right, guys.
I have nothing to say.
Soapbox. Can I soapbox for a bit? You guys mind?
No, please.
Interject. I'm about to go on a tirade here.
Get 'em.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about geopolitics, baby. Oh, I'm so excited. Corporations around the world interacting. This is going to be so good. China. You know, they've got this big thing with nationalism right now. It's actually better to flame somebody, even if you don't care, as long as it supports China. And I think that that's, you know, their culture. That's okay. You know, that's what they want to do. I support the Chinese. Let them go. Let them do it. They want to say, you know what? Don't say bad things about us. Well, fuck yeah, don't say bad things about you. Go for it, China. Good for you. That's part of who they are. Some Chinese are very, very, you know, into that. They don't even, it's kind of frowned upon to look, to cheer for non-Chinese teams. A lot of guys go against the grain and they're very supportive of the global stage. But in all honesty, from everything I've heard about the culture, it's very cheer for your own, do for your own, defend your own. And a lot of these guys that are complaining about this entire thing probably don't even give a shit. It just gives them more viewers, more fans, and it makes them happier in the end. Fantastic. That's what their goal is. The more we make a stink about this, the more the support of the fan base comes to us, the better our careers. So why stop? Now you look at Valve's position. Valve, what do they do in this situation? If they dare to mess with China at all, you think the fucking Western fans matter in Dota? We don't fucking matter at all, baby. Look at the compendium. Over 70% of the money that goes into Dota is China. All of us could ban Dota for life. It wouldn't fucking make a difference, baby. They got all the cash. So what's Valve going to do? Are they going to go against their biggest moneymaker? I mean, Valve isn't a fucking charity, baby. It's a business. You got to go with the moneymakers. So do they do that? But if they do that, they ruin their own system. You see, the DPC is important. You can't just bar people from making fucking points to go to the international because they got to go to other countries. And then what happens if they say, yes, China's allowed to ban people because they don't like them? Now is Southeast Asia allowed to ban Chinese people because the fucking Chinese were banning the Southeast Asian people? And we start this whole cascade into madness. Oh, baby. This is the drama upon dramas. And you want to know where it all started? Where we all think that everyone thinks it's the racist kid that said something. Everybody thinks it's the overacting government. Everybody thinks it's the players. Nah, baby. It's miscommunication. You don't want to know why there hasn't been a giant world war in a long time? Because the fucking telephone was invented. Because internet was invented. Wars and conflict only come by without communication. And guess what? No communication from our boys at Volvo after the incident. And I have always said I love Valve. I've been drinking the Valve Kool-Aid. They have a genius way of running things. We don't have rules until you make us have rules, because that's the easiest way to do it. You know, if I say every single time a player says something racist, then they have to get a fine, that's a very nice rule. But then you have to employ someone to look at that rule. Then you have to make someone check every single game to make sure that anytime someone says racist, you have to work towards enforcing that rule. So
Well, that's
why
probably
do it?
not going to happen.
No, not at all. So what do? You just say the rule doesn't exist until it does. And now, for the first time ever, it's hyper fucked because that rule existed. There's no getting out of it now, because if a rule is not set into precedent, the entire DPC could be destroyed. However, if a rule is set into precedent and they really decide to push them, they can't afford to lose China. So where do we go? Oh, baby. You want to know how to solve this problem? A fucking community manager, baby. That's all you needed.
Oh, that's what this was all coming to?
One blog post after the incident, a day after. The entire reason this cascaded out of control is because nobody put in, this is the rule. If you just let humans do whatever they want, back in the day before we had laws, somebody took your fucking rock, you stabbed them in the dick. All right? You can't do that anymore, baby. All right, that's why we have cops. That's why we have laws. Because when humans are left to their own devices, they fucking kill each other. They go crazy. They get mad and make mobs. So the mobs are only happening from a lack of communication. They needed a community manager, but it's too late for that now. So now what do? The answer is we focus on the real enemy. And who is the real enemy? Is it China? No.
Who's the real enemy?
Is it Valve? No. Is it the community? No. It's fucking League of Legends, baby! Tencent, motherfucker! Y'all think that this is really coming from the Chinese community?
Something kind of going for a while there. Don't go conspiracy
it's
shithole.
Fucking Tencent, dude! They own the Chinese community. They've got to get the fucking PUBG had the same problems. Tencent's pushing on that. League owns China. They want to push out fucking Dota 2. So what do? Do they attack Dota 2 because they're a better game, a worse game? No, they're a worse game. So they got to go through the fucking government and the fucking fans pushing it on racism. League of Legends, baby! That's the enemy we should be fighting right now.
When you say shit like this, it makes it so people don't believe how Russia actually did that to other countries instead of making it up with Tencent.
Yeah, it is. Tencent runs the Chinese credit system. It's true. They got the hole, baby. This is their chance. We gotta fucking fight against League of Legends, boy.
Okay, all right. Even if you're, all right, I was super up with you up until the Tencent part, and even if the Tencent part is true, the cause of this basically is still the lack of community reaction initially. I mean, from my viewpoint, I thought that it wasn't needed for Valve to make a statement because I thought that it was. There was like a understanding basically that, hey guys, that's not okay to say in a broadcast setting or even in a pub game. But I think ultimately it's good that it's being punished more and it will be looked down upon more, and hopefully players stop saying casual racism shit. But I think you're completely right actually. If they had a community manager and they put a post out like that day, that's still condoned.
That I agree with.
That still said like this is not okay. It will make sure basically the blog post they made. If they made that post instantly the day of before everything got riled up, it all would have been stopped. And Valve could have continued on with their system the way they are. But now the problem is that it got so out of hand, somebody has to be punished for them to be happy. And I think the person that's going to get stabbed in the dick is Cuckoo and Skim.
How can they ban them though? Honestly, how can they ban them?
What do you mean?
They banned celebrities, dude. They banned Lady Gaga.
I'm pretty sure.
I mean,
their local government is preventing their entry.
The city is part of the organization.
No.
Like they're part of the sponsor for the tournament.
I'm saying metaphorically. I can understand how a fucking government can ban a visa, gentlemen.
Explain what you mean.
I'm saying, how can Valve allow that to happen? If they start saying that tournament organizers are able to ban players from coming in.
Not tournament organizers, tournament sponsors, even better.
Tournament sponsors. If they're able to ban people from coming in on events that give DPC points, then the entire system is put at risk. I mean, maybe this is a one-time thing, and they make a blog post saying from now on, nobody's allowed to do this. That's their only acceptable route.
Yep.
Is to say that, this happens now. What we're doing now is that DPC organizers have to be made from a separate system, which is Valve controlled. And if you don't agree to these standards, then whatever. That's the only way out.
What about, do you think there should be another tournament ever in Malaysia? Because they don't recognize Israel as being a real place, and therefore Neta couldn't go, and Fly had to basically pretend and lie about being just Canadian and not having an Israeli passport?
I mean, geopolitical politics, baby. How can Valve, a gaming company, change the entire world? They can't, but we have to do what we can around the world to try to make this worldwide thing work with all these different cultures.
Right. So, but the question is, how is what happened to 33 different from what's potentially happening to Cuckoo and Skim?
They need to hire an expert on geopolitical politics at Valve, clearly.
Who's also a community manager.
Who also knows the truth about League of Legends, baby.
Now,
send it in the resume.
Well, the problem though, Slacks, is I agree that they shouldn't have to. They don't want to let the creep go into Chinese hands of like them being outraged, therefore we shouldn't run the tournament there necessarily. Like, but what happens is somebody needs to get stabbed in the dick for them to stop being upset. And if right now it seems like they're not happy, that they feel like there hasn't been enough dick stabbing and they need some more dick stabbing. And and hopefully,
words I never thought I'd hear from.
Hopefully, after one or two dicks get stabbed in this tournament, hopefully it ends. If it doesn't, then some shit's got to change. That's when you stop running tournaments in China, as far as I'm concerned.
You can't. They have TI9. You can't. They can do whatever
you're
they
right.
want. Right.
You're right. They have TI9, but I could definitely see a Valve agreement where they do something like, "We're gonna let you stab their dicks this time, but only this time." I mean, it's not going to happen again. Like they've got to do, they have to make a stand somewhere, and you have to appease the upset fans, and hopefully it goes over from this point on.
But doesn't Valve have some leverage here, though, Slacks? Like you can't just say China owns TI, because it would be an embarrassment for China if Valve pulled TI from happening there, and it's far enough away that Valve could still avert somewhere, have it in North America. Like it's still possible to make changes, you know?
Is it? No.
I don't know, dude. That would burn the bridge with China forever.
That would burn the Chinese bridge. And you think the Chinese would be upset if Valve pulled out? Hell no. The Chinese would be like, Valve are a bunch of fucking racists. They 70% of the money that runs in through this game. They'd go bankrupt on the Dota 2 scene. And not only to mention, ties are so weak right now with Steam itself. Now, Steam is the real moneymaker. China's trying to develop its own Steam, probably with League of Legends fucking Tencent. And this would be the way that they could break it apart. All right? Steam is what we're really after here. Now, they have to appease China. They have to keep on it, baby.
No, they
can't break away.
What percentage of Valve's gross do you think comes from Steam sales in China, dude? Newsflash, it's not a lot.
It's not a lot, but it could be.
No.
Are you, as a corporation,
dude, why do you think Perfect World exists, dude? Why do you think Valve doesn't just handle all the China stuff themselves? Do you think it's convenient to pay Perfect World to be a publisher in China? Absolutely not. They do it because that's a very difficult market to enter if you're not a Chinese company. So, like, Valve as a company focuses on every other part of the world except China.
Are you guys insane? You can make millions from everywhere else in the world. You make fucking mega billions in China.
There's still more people outside of China than in China, dude. What are you talking about? You get
what are you talking about?
You're just making up numbers.
Billions, baby! Billions! You can't pull out of China. You can't piss off the Chinese. You can make an announcement that says, hey, this is a one-time thing, but if China wanted to push it, they could fucking push it on anybody, all right? If China broke up trade with the United States right now, what the fuck do you think would happen there, too? It's the same situation,
well,
all right?
Fair. Yeah. It's true.
Jesus
no, you're definitely
Christ.
right. I see what you mean. It would be scary to, even if you have that leverage in theory, it's like a one-way street. So you kind of have to appease. You might have convinced me, actually.
There's no way out, dude. They have to appease by China. And I mean, if they do, then the DPC is in complete risk of being completely ruined. Because any country could just say whatever they want. And then if another country says it and you're like, whoa, 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 we're never coming back to Malaysia, then you've got a real fucking problem because you're like, hey, what about China? Ugh. The time has come for major renovations. They've only got one chance to get it right. Yeah. I can't wait to see how they do it.
It all comes down to whether or not they let it go after this one punishment is kind of
wow.
Whether or not the Chinese citizens continue to.
I knew this was a big drama, but like, it's bigger than I realized. You kind of convinced me that this is like the drama of dramas.
This is not just a player being banned. This is the survival of the Dota DPC being legitimate or not for the next existence of Dota. This is, will Valve's relationship with China be destroyed, or will they be able to find a way to have a happy medium through intense negotiations? This is the fucking apex drama, baby. And it all became a problem because of late communication. Community manager, baby. Think about it.
I know Valve does think in terms of financial gain and loss, so maybe this will finally be the thing that pushes them to be like, you know what, guys? Maybe we should have paid somebody $80,000 a year to literally just do community relations. Maybe it's worth breaking the business model.
Slacks is 80. Were you thinking for 80, or do you want more?
I'm gonna need
What's your
100.
goal here?
It's a Seattle dazzle.
Now I've been learning Chinese over the last couple months, and let me just say, 谢谢我听得懂. Yes,
You
I understand.
still know that. I'm very impressed.
Yes, I understand what you're saying. All right. But no, I mean, when I told my girlfriend about this drama, I said, baby, I explained the whole thing in preparation for What the Duck last night.
Mhm.
I said, sweetie, you're Valve. What do you do? And she said, I probably would have hired a PR company a few years ago. And I was like, good answer, sweetie pie. Good answer. It's so interesting. And the best part is, I think that the Chinese are in the right. I think that Valve is in the right. I love their system. Valve's system has always been breed the best product. How do you breed the best product? By having the least amount of rules possible. If people want to push the limits on what they think is possible without having to worry about, is the hammer going to come down on me? That's the way that you get the best. There's a reason Valve has always made the best things and always had the best things. It's because they've always had an open system based on different competition and growth. But that open system only has one weakness, and that's the lack of quick communication on dire circumstances. And this is the first time we've ever really seen a dire fucking circumstance, baby. How will it change?
Wow. Do you think this is enough to see a community manager Slacks, or will that just never happen at Valve HQ?
No, it ain't gonna happen. They're gonna put out a tiny little. They're gonna put out a message. They're going to ban these two players from this event. They'll put out a thing that says, we'll never let this happen again. From now on, the DPC will not be controlled by Valve. It will be controlled by a third-party people that will ban it from them. Valve doesn't ban you guys. They ban you guys. And then we'll move on to something new and better, and the problem will never be resolved. However, we were close to seeing the fucking abyss, baby. And that's what makes the drama so dank.
All right.
Wow.
Well. I mean, this is one. It's
There you
still
go.
open-ended. You know, this is a story it's like if we were writing a little article, I'd be like, story's still evolving, you know? Check back for updates because it's a big loose end right now.
Purdy, okay?
I didn't think about the business stuff that much, but you're right. It's a hard problem. I was thinking so much more about the community aspect, thinking like, oh, the community would get over it, but it's very possible that they're pushing it for business reasons as well, like on the Chinese side. You know, because essentially they can leverage through the power of their government and government structure. They can basically leverage a big one over Valve to force them to do what they want in a big way, at least while there's tournaments scheduled in China.
Yeah.
So,
And isn't it
it's a hard
strange
problem.
that the creators of League of Legends have recently got inside with the government and their credit check system? Isn't it strange, Bird?
Slacks, I hate to add credence to your case, but I just looked at the 10-cent stock price, and it's up 10% in the last week and 15% over the last 3 months. So
Now I'm going to be real with you. Wow. I am going to be assassinated in the next week. This is a $1 billion organization. I have Alex Jones this shit. I'm a fucking dead man. But remember this before I go. Burn League, all right? Burn it to the ground. I'm already gone. Remember me, homies. Remember me.
Well, it's $500 billion right now, by the way.
$500 billion.
Shout out to Cyborg Matt as well. So, you know, I don't know exactly where these numbers came from, but he's saying that right now there's about 140 million unique Steam users, and 30 million of those come from China. So it's, you know, like 20%-ish of total Steam is in China. So still not the majority, but it also is new, right? Steam's existed outside of China much longer than it existed in China. So definitely a good start, and it's growing. So maybe that market's a little bigger than I gave you credit for, Slacks, but your millions to billions analogy, the B and the M needed to be switched.
Billions.
It's
about
millions the other way.
Not players. I'm talking money.
Have you guys looked at the GDP growth of China on a graph recently? I looked at it when I was at ESL, and it's like mind-boggling. It's just like flat.
Funny.
It's just down there, and then all of a sudden it's just like, oop, and now it's about to pass the U.S. And there's so many people that live in China. It's gonna have crazy economic implications for the rest of our lifetimes for sure. And this is surely the biggest one ever.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Start conforming now, my little friends. We as the players, baby, we got to work together. We got to unite. Stop the hate. Stop the anger. Just let it happen this once and move on. Because if we don't, it's over for all of us. The abyss.
Dun. All right, boys and girls. Well, I think that's a wrap. So
Thanks,
another great episode.
Glad you practiced that.
So one little tidbit of administrative news. Right now, the Moonduck website is messed up. It's a long story short, but it got reverted back to a backup from 2017. So the What the Duck RSS feed is all fucked up. The talent list is all fucked up. We're working on it. So this podcast won't be available audio only, but you can find it on YouTube. youtube.com/moonducktv. And we're going to get the old website fixed up in the next couple days. So don't worry. We're aware of it. The Mastermind Buka is already on it. And that's where we're at. So
I got Keen Folk Golem. Is that good, Slacks?
Yeah, baby. Don't
Nice.
use it until it's a game-winning one. If you use it and they have a chance of doing anything else, you're fucked.
That's usually why I don't get it, because it just sits in my hand all game, and it almost never sits in that opportunity where I'm like, hey, I could win if I just drop this creature for 13 damage, and he can't block it in any way.
Whoa,
And it's
did we turn off the stream?
All right,
what happened to
boys.
story
What?
time?
Well,
What?
we'll catch you next time. That was an awkward ending, but it's some tips for all you artifact gamers
What?
out
Story
there.
time.
You have a
The stream's
story?
on.
You must have a slide. You must have a story.
Has he muted us?
You have a story?
Yeah, the stream's off though, isn't it?
No, it's not. We're back. We just it was a little dip.
Oh, okay.
Come back into
story
story.
time.
I didn't
Anybody
cut it yet.
got a story? Trent? Anybody?
What? Nah.
No,
No.
I don't have a story.
All right, now let me tell you about the greatest skit that never did air. Kentucky Fried Fog. We're at KL, and this has been. I've been at events for like 35 days, and I've been doing like creative skit creation. Yeah, I'm fucking gone. It's the last 2 days of KL, and PGL is like, hey, you got anything else? Because you look burned out as fuck. And I'm like, I'll figure something out. Anyway, we're down in the green room, and every day in the green room, the event is sponsored by KFC, and they bring us the biggest fucking box of KFC I have ever seen.
Like, can you guys picture like just a big, like giant black garbage bag full of KFC, and every day they just walk in with this bag of chicken,
It was like
And
Santa
it's there.
Claus.
and it's just
All day.
like huge things of chicken and a tiny little cup of potatoes and gravy.
And there's like unlimited. It is
there for, like,
fucking
5
pounds and pounds of chicken. It comes in the morning. It's not replaced. It's just there. Just chicken all day. And we don't have that much to eat. Like, it's either... Go ahead.
And then right after they bring in the little bag of chicken, they always bring in another bag that's like a quarter the size. And they go, "This is the healthy option." And
There's
it's
no
just
end
like
to
some
this.
salad.
There's no end to the chicken. It's either we eat the chicken or we eat like the Snickers or the Pringles or the tiny salad. So it basically, we've all been eating chicken for 6 days, so we can't take any more fucking chicken. And I'm out of ideas, and we're all there eating our survival chicken. And I'm like, Fog, I got an idea. All right, here's the skit. We put Zyori's white jacket on you, and you walk out in the crowd, and you have the big ass box of Hicken, and we do Dota 2 questions, trivia, and if they get it right, you just give them chicken for being correct, but you have to do it in like a southern drawl, you know? And we're like, oh, Dad, that's a fine answer, sir. Here's your Hicken. And we're selling it to Fog, and he's so against it, and he's so mad. Every single day I come up and I'm like, Fog, now, son, it's time for that Hicken now. And he just won't do it. And then at the end of the event, Fog starts coming in and he starts talking like the fucking Southern man, and he's tormenting us the entire time. He's like, oh, that's a fine play there. And he's eating the fucking chicken. And I'm like, Fog, just walk out there and do it. And I tried so hard. And then we got to the point where Fog agreed that he would do it if he said it on a microphone and the kids were up in the rafters, and he would take the chicken and he'd throw it at them while being like, there you go, sir. And we were all set to do it. And then he had to go cast, and then he was like, I'll forget it. So Kentucky Fried Fog never happened, and it's one of the skits I'll never forget. Next TI9, if I'm there and Fog's there, I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that young man passes out them Hickens. And there you go. That's the KFC Kentucky Fried Fog. That's the story.
Glorious KFC.
Why
Thank
Fog?
you.
Because his name starts with an F.
Okay, see, Perch, this was my argument as well. You don't need someone with an F. You need someone with a C. It
A
makes
C,
no
yeah, that
sense.
made more sense.
What do you mean?
Capitalist. Kentucky Fried Capitalist chicken.
Capitalist. He wasn't happy, Joe. We didn't have any chance. Kentucky Fried Fog. It rolls off the tongue, son.
We should have had Quinn do it. He's
Quinn.
here. He's in chat.
Kentucky
Fried CCNC.
That doesn't make any goddamn sense.
CCN chicken.
All right.
I mean,
you'll see
it's
it.
no
Now, if you
secret.
guys ever see this piece, it means that we have nothing else. It's almost as bad as Zoomy Loomy, which I'm pretty sure no one's ever heard of either. So.
Well, it's no secret that we tend to have trouble disconnecting from the characters when we make content pieces that are pretty funny. You know, remember Captain's Draft 3, whatever the old man voice was? We just did that so much that we had to issue a ban on the old man voice because it was excessive in public, right? The entire trip through the airports to Tokyo, back to Denver from the KL Major was just Slacks going, "Oh, Grant, that's a nice hunk of hickin' right there." We go up to the fucking origami station in the Tokyo airport, and Slacks is just talking in his southern drawl the entire time, and it was an overwhelm. That's the level of dedication he had to this piece. It was all consuming.
Oh, can I talk about Zoomy Loomy, or should we save it for another time?
Well, some people would have heard it. You know, are there more or less viewers here than KLXL? We're down to less. All right. Yeah.
No, all right, cool.
Give the people what they want to know.
Real quick, Zoomy Loomy was an idea at TI. I was out of ideas again. I went up to Loomy and I was like, dude, I got a great idea. It's called Zoomies with Loomies. Now, what we do is we present the piece and we say, hey, guys, one thing you might not know is that us in the talent, we like to race. It keeps us healthy, you know, we're always sitting around, and Loomy is the fastest talent out of all of us. So today, we're going to have Loomy race against 5 of these fans, and whoever wins gets a free item from the secret shop. So we line everybody up in a line, and we go 3, 2, 1, go! And the fans run as fast as they can, and Loomy's job is to run like an anime character, and he's super fucking slow. That was the skit. It was called Zoomies with Loomies, and he refused to do it again. And we'll never get to see it. I don't know why. It could have changed everything for Loomy. Loomy could have been a household beloved. It would have changed everything. Zoomy Loomy is what they could have called him.
Wow.
One day, Loomy. If you ever see any of these, you'll know that this is the bottom of the barrel shit. Like, I am completely out. These are my 2 keys if you're watching this podcast.
These are my dark days. These are my
The
trigger
darkest.
warnings here.
Someday.
One day.
All right.
Well,
Well,
thank
there
you
you
for
go.
those stories,
All right.
Slacks.
Thanks, Slacks.
That was great and enlightening per usual. Boys and girls, we're done. We'll see you next time. Enjoy the patch and get out there and play yourself some of that Dota 2.
Woo.